Did you know that if you are a permanent employee of the South African government, that you can qualify for the housing allowance or the housing subsidy? And that housing subsidy is currently being managed by the government employee housing scheme. And that's what we're going to talk about today, because the intention of government is to help you reach that goal of owning your own home. So today we will explore whether you can also get that housing allowance, not only if you have an existing house, but whether you are renting a property as well. So I suggest that you stay tuned in, because that is going to follow soon. Hello, if you're new here, I'm Sharon. This is the School Corridor, and today we're discussing the housing subsidy that permanent employees of government can qualify for. So, the first step is, if you want to qualify for the government housing subsidy, you must first be permanently employed, and secondly, you must enroll on the government employee housing scheme. You must become a member of the scheme, because the scheme has been set up so that you can get advice on what to do if you want to purchase your first home when you are ready to do that. The scheme also provides you with counseling and advice if you're struggling with debt, and we know it's tough out there. So if you do have a bad debt record, then you can call on the government employee housing scheme, and there the consultants will help you to work out a plan on how to manage your finances. And then the third very important service that they also offer is that when you are ready to purchase your house, then uh, the consultants, they will tell you exactly where there are houses available if you are not sure, and they will guide you through the whole process of purchasing your very first home. Isn't that fantastic? But the most important part that I want to talk about today is that those people who cannot afford to buy their own home yet, you may be renting a property. Now, do you know that even if you rent a property, or you're renting a room in your parents' house, or you are renting a room in a friend's house, that you may also qualify for the housing subsidy? That is what I want to talk about right now, because most people think that government will only provide the housing subsidy if you rent or lease a property from a private owner and it is a flat in some complex. No, this is the good news. If you are currently renting from your parents and you're renting your home, in that home you are renting your room or other rooms that form part of your rental, then you will also qualify for the housing subsidy. If you are renting space in your friend's home, you may also qualify for the housing subsidy. Even if you are living in a house in the informal settlement and it is an official house, of course, with an official number, then you may also qualify for the housing subsidy. And this is interesting and very important for you to note, that all you have to do is that you must apply for the housing subsidy, and you must provide proof that there is a rental agreement between you and your friend, or you and your parents, or you and your other relatives, or you must prove that you are living in the informal settlement and that is the official house that belongs to you, that council or the municipality has allowed you to erect there. That's all you have to do. And then you can ensure that you also have an opportunity to qualify for the housing subsidy, which is 1,900 Rand per month from this year onward. Okay? So every year the housing subsidy increases according to regulation. It increases. So this year there's a 1,900 Rand per month on the table. So if you do not apply to be a member of the government's employees housing scheme, then you cannot get the housing allowance. You must be a member of the scheme. So you need to go to the Government Employees Housing Scheme, the GEHS website, and then you must then register, right? So you can register online or you can register via your HR department. Now, I would suggest it's probably easier and quicker to do it online because then you don't have to make an appointment with the HR consultant and then they're too busy to see you, and the longer they take, another month may have passed, and then you missed another 1,900 Rand. So I would suggest go onto this website that you see on screen, and then you just follow the prompts. Once you are registered there, you can then let your HR person know that you have registered on the GEHS scheme, and then you can wait to see when you are going to be approved. And that's the good news, isn't it? That you may be a tenant now, you may be paying rent now, you may be leasing a property now, but the idea is that you want to continue building your savings at the GEHS so that when you are ready to purchase your home, when you are ready to make that first purchase, that home of your the purchase of your first home, you will already have a lovely nest egg of savings because your housing allowance, while you are renting, that housing allowance will go into your own special savings account that is linked to you at the government employee housing scheme. So you don't get the cash, you don't get it into your bank account. You don't use that money to pay your landlord. You still continue paying your landlord, but government will say, yes, you are renting, and the law allows for you also to qualify for the housing subsidy. So what the scheme will do is take that 1,900 Rand every month and then deposit that into a savings account that is linked to you, but it's held in trust at the scheme. And when you are ready to buy your first home, or you are ready to buy your first serviced plot of land, then you may apply to GEHS to have those savings released, and then you can use that money towards paying your legal costs, your money that you need up front. You may need a deposit or whatever you need the money for that is tied to the purchasing of your house or your plot of land, and there you go. That is fantastic. If you don't sign up with the government employee housing scheme, if you don't become a member, you forfeit the housing allowance. So I'm going to repeat, you must be a member of the GEHS. You must enroll because there they will ask you what your housing circumstances are, and the intention is to provide you with information and guidance and counseling. So it's not a matter of just getting the money and using it for any other purpose. The idea is government wants you to become a homeowner, and government is helping you by making available the housing allowance or the housing subsidy. So there's no rush. You may only be ready to purchase your house in the next 2 years, in the next 5 years, hopefully not the next 10 years, but you don't have to worry. If you belong to the housing scheme, your money will be placed in that saving facility as I explained, and by the time you are ready, you may have hundreds of and thousands of rands in your savings facility that you can use when you are ready to buy your house. So the whole idea is to move from a renter or a tenant to becoming a homeowner. And on that day, I'm sure everybody's going to celebrate. So let me just sum up what happens when you are a tenant and you're applying for the housing subsidy. You can be a tenant, like I explained, for those various scenarios. And if you are a tenant, the one thing is the housing subsidy must first be approved. When the housing subsidy is approved, that 1,900 for this year per month will be paid into a savings account that is specifically linked to you. And you will be able to see that on your pay slip. So you'll be able to see on your pay slip that the money, the 1,900 allowance is paid into your account. Okay? And then, of course, like I said, the main intention is that you are being made homeowner ready. That is the goal, that you become a first time homeowner if you have never owned a home. You must just provide evidence to the GEHS. You must provide the lease agreement in your name, only in your name, and or if you are renting, as I explained in the earlier part, then you must provide the rental agreement that will be in your name, and then those are the important documents that you must submit to the government employee housing scheme so that they can consider your application. Okay, now that we've discussed that if you want to rent a house or you want to lease a house, what you must do in order to qualify for the housing allowance. Now let's discuss what happens if you already have a house or a home and what applies. So if you have a house, the house is paid up and you have the title deed and you do qualify for the housing allowance, then that housing allowance will go into your savings account that is held at GEHS and is linked to you. So if you want to upgrade your home or make any home improvements, then you may access those savings to do that. Second scenario is you may have a house, but you still owe on the home bond or the home loan. And in that case, your housing allowance will be paid directly into your home loan account or your bond account. GEHS will do that. So you will see on your salary slip that you do get the housing allowance, but you will not get it into your bank account. GEHS will pay that housing allowance directly to your home loan institution or your bond institution. The third scenario is in the rural areas, you may have been allocated a section of communal land. So you may build a house on that land, and then you may use, if you have applied, you may use that housing allowance to help you to build that house. Then I want to step over to the relationship or the partnership that GEHS has with SA Home Loans. Now, SA Home Loans will help you to buy your home or to build your home, which often other banking institutions or home loan institutions won't do. The other interesting part about SA Home Loans is that they also give you a 1% discount on your repayments. Now, 1% is a lot of money. While you're listening, I suppose you are thinking of possible questions, and I'm thinking of three questions that you could possibly ask me. One is you may be thinking, what happens if I don't have a formal rental agreement? In that case, you need to get a formal rental agreement. You cannot just have a verbal agreement between yourself and the person who's renting the property or the room to you. There must be a formal written agreement, and then that document must be submitted to GEHS when you make application for the housing allowance. Another question could be, could you also buy a plot of land? And the answer is yes, but that plot of land must be a service plot. In other words, there must already be infrastructure like a sewage and so forth. Okay, it mustn't just be a piece of barren land. And then possibly a third question is, how soon can you use the savings that you have in your special savings account at GEHS? You can use the savings whenever you are ready to use the savings. Let's say you don't have a property and you have now acquired a property, a house that you want to buy. So then you can tap into your savings to help you with the cost, as I explained. Or you might be living in a rural area and a piece of communal land has been allocated to you. In that case, you must have the documentation to say that you have permission to build on that piece of land. And then if that is approved by GEHS, then you may then submit that and you will qualify for your housing allowance. So that's it, guys. There, I think I gave you a summary of how the GEHS works, how you can qualify for the housing allowance, and how you can set up yourself for success to become a homeowner in future. And if you do that, then we know that government has succeeded because the goal is to ensure that we all become homeowners. If you think this information is useful and you already knew this information, but you know somebody who can benefit from this information because they may not know things like being a renter and still being able to qualify, then I would like to ask you to please share this video with them via WhatsApp or any other social media. If you have questions that you would like to ask me, or you would like me to walk you through the application process by showing you on screen how to do that, ask the question and I will make a video about that. But for now, we know that if there's any government employee, whether you were appointed permanently a few years ago or even last week, you qualify for the housing allowance. So don't delay. Don't throw money away. Don't leave money on the table. Take advantage of this benefit that you get just because you're a state worker. So until next time, we'll see each other again.